I've seen reports today, latest, is that Urban Meyer never had the locker room to lose in the first place in the aftermath
Right.
of that viral video. I say this, I'm only half joking when I say this, but what are the chances that Urban gets left in London since he likes to stay behind and not fly back on a team plane? What are the chances that they leave him in London? Like, how close is this? I was telling Michael when we talked about it earlier this week, ironically, given what we saw him doing on video in Ohio, he accelerated the honeymoon period. He talked about the Lions and nobody expecting him to come out and win every game. Taking over a 1-15 team that's now lost 20 in a row, it feels like all 20 were under Urban Meyer. That's how much he's lost any semblance of credibility or grace period. I mean, how close is this team to winning a game versus how close is it to really going bad and Shad Khan saying, you know what, as Michael Holley has often said, you're not built for this game?
Well, it's close to winning a game because I think they're more talented than people give them respect for. I mean, when you look at the roster and you look at the running backs and receivers, and I know it's a young quarterback who's going to make some mistakes, but damn, he makes a lot of plays too. Offensive line, okay, it's not perfect, but I don't sit there and go, it's one of the 8 worst or 10 worst in football. Defense got a few talented guys to go along with it. Like I would go, they got more talent than the Detroit Lions for me. In fact, it's not even close. They got more talent than the Houston Texans. So there's something there. But like to your question, I think it's a very real possibility this could be the last game Urban Meyer coaches in Jacksonville. You know, me and Mike Florio, we talked about this morning on PFT where, hey, listen, we know a lot of people in the league and surrounding this situation. And, you know, to echo your point, yeah, I don't think the locker room was in love with Urban Meyer to begin with. I think the coaching staff has been a little bit taken back by the way he's treated them and the way he's handled business on a week-to-week basis. And, you know, from anything you hear, he lied to the owner about how that weekend where he stayed behind went down. There was obviously some facts that, you know, he didn't tell the truth about or let the owner know. So he's on thin ice. And I would not be shocked, let alone all the other mistakes that have been made along the way that have added to this, to where you just go, wait, this guy like obviously doesn't get it or understand what it's like to be in the NFL. I really thought he would get it. I did, but
Same.
I feel like I'm wrong right now, and I would bet you I would think it's 50-50 whether he's the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars next week or not. With the people I talk to around the league who seem to know. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you for that, because it's nice to have some company in that club there. I've been taking a lot of grief from Michael. Once upon a time, though, Cleveland was a laughing stock.
You really are a comedian. You are a comedian.
Once upon a time, Cleveland was a laughing stock. Once upon a time, Cleveland was dysfunctional in much the same way that Jacksonville seems to be. I'm curious about Odell Beckham in particular, and not because I just traded him this morning, because I'm sick of waiting to see if he and Baker Mayfield start to click in my fantasy team. But I'm seriously, I'm watching the game, I'm watching this shootout, and let's say Baker Mayfield is a half-field read quarterback. For purpose of this conversation, let's say he's a half-field read quarterback. That half is the half that Odell is not on. As in, he's not even looking in his direction, it seems like. Like, what's going on there? Why can't they get on the same page? And is there a possibility in your mind that Odell Beckham is moved? Despite what Kevin Stefanski said this week, he is moved before the trade deadline.
I mean, I've seen enough to think that, like, if I'm Cleveland, I would start shopping him. I would. You know, there's no doubt. You know, I kept giving it the benefit of the doubt. Like, okay, he got traded there. All right, they'll work. The chemistry will get there. Then last year, you know, it was still iffy, but it was a little better. But then, of course, Odell Beckham Jr. got hurt. But there's some issue there, all right? There is. I don't even know what it is. It's, you know, I think you explained it right. For me, and I did a breakdown of this on my podcast yesterday, and we showed a few plays from last week where I go, listen, I know the read of this play. And Odell Beckham Jr.'s open. He still can fly. He's got 3 rockets up his butt. He can still run routes as good as any receiver in football. And it's like he's not even on Baker Mayfield's radar. And listen, this is the 3rd week in a row. 3 weeks ago in Odell Beckham Jr.'s first game back, I think it was his first game back against the Chicago Bears. I mean, he should have gone off. If you watch that film back, you go, Odell should have had 7 or 8 for 180 and, you know, maybe a touchdown or 2. The next week in Minnesota, there's a handful of plays where I just go, I don't get it. Not looking, can't hit them. And then last week, again, it was the same thing. And most egregiously, there was like a play on 3rd and 1 on the last drive of the game where Baker Mayfield throws the ball in the flat, and I know the play. In fact, Justin Herbert threw a touchdown to Mike Williams on the same play early in the game, where it's like the tight end runs a corner route and the receiver runs a post over the top. The safety sat on the corner route by the tight end, and it's Odell with a corner on outside leverage, and he's gone. They're going to win the game. It's over. Doesn't even look. And there's about 3 or 4 other examples of that in the game. And I don't get it. I don't know what it is between them. I don't understand. Odell looks plenty healthy and explosive to me. If I'm the Buffalo Bills or the Kansas City Chiefs, I'm calling Cleveland and trying to get Odell Beckham Jr. I can tell you that much.
All right, I told you, Chris Sims, I had a quarterback question for you, and this is going to be tough. I wonder how you're going to answer this. I can't wait. So everybody gets to be healthy. That's the only pretend part of this. Everybody's healthy right now. And you've got to pick one quarterback to represent Team Sims from the NFC West. Who's that quarterback? That's a tough one.
Oh, good question. All right, well, listen. I think right now, and again, we're pretending like Russell Wilson's healthy and everything like that, right? That's a great question by you.
He's healthy, no problems.
Yep.
Got no problems. Fingers all fine.
I want to lean right away into the conversation because I don't think Russell was playing his best football before this either. To where, like, as we speak right now, and if we were just going to do it this second, I want to go right to Kyler Murray or Stafford, one of those two. I do. And trust me, I don't say that lightly because I think the world of Russell Wilson. I do. But I think if you made me pick one, with what I've seen from this point on, I'm going to give Kyler Murray the advantage over Stafford. I'm taking Kyler Murray in the NFC West right now. That's what I'm going to do.
And has he surprised you a little bit just with the way he's been able to play?
Well, yes, and I know I should have expanded on what I like about it, right? I mean, first off, he's been throwing the ball phenomenal. The decision-making's been phenomenal. One of the things I questioned about Kyler Murray coming in the year was statistically his first 2 years in the NFL, he was one of the worst third-down quarterbacks in football. At times leaving the pocket a little too early. The offense wasn't delivering. He's got a better offensive line this year, and he's been awesome on third down. And third down's quarterback down in the NFL. Listen, the coach can't always dial up the perfect play on first and second down. Third down, you got to play this call that's a little more aggressive. And, of course, you might have to make a play in the pocket or out of the pocket. He's been delivering. And when he's not hot or their deep offense isn't like just scorching earth, like we saw last week, he played the game smart. He understood the totality of the game and what was going on. And he just went, I'm going to buy my time. I'm not going to have any turnovers. And when I really need to push the limit a little bit, I will, and we'll make some plays and we'll win this damn football game. And that to me is where he's matured. So yeah, even as I talk about it more and more, I'm going with Kyler Murray right now in the NFC West for sure.
That was a hypothetical. I want to go to reality. I got 2 more things before we get you out of here, Chris. One is Russell Wilson is not healthy right now. I liked, and you've experienced this. You've experienced coming in off the bench as a backup due to injury or what have you. I liked what I saw from Geno Smith, who we know would happen with both New York teams. But I like what I saw from Geno Smith in that Thursday night game. Blessing in disguise, he's got this extended period to get ready for Sunday night on NBC for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm thinking this guy might actually be one of these quarterbacks that late in his career, just when you've written him off, shows you, wait a second, like that experience taught him something. He's maybe a viable, I'm not saying a starter, but like, wait, he's better than we ever thought he could be. He was just in such an awful situation, got more seasoning that he got immediately in New York, and he might be able to hold down the fort for Seattle. What you think?
I'm a believer in Geno Smith. I am. I have been. My brother was on the Jets with Geno Smith when he first got in the league. I mean, I think from his talent level and the human being he was, I think my brother liked everything he's seen. I know the rest of my family, my dad included, has been around Geno, and they think like, hey, he's got a mental toughness and a way about him that will succeed in the NFL. I mean, come on, let's be real about it. The Jets sucked. I don't care who was quarterback then. The worst thing he ever did in his career was, confront what's his name in the locker room about paying him back. You got to watch how you talk to the biggest, baddest dude in the locker room. You might get a broken jaw. I can't remember the name, right? But either way, and then so now he's with the Jets, right? So he's with the Jets. And then, like I always say, I mean, if you're around crap all the time, you're going to smell like crap and get some crap on you. I mean, what do you expect? We could have put some all-time greats on those Jets teams. They would have sucked too. And then he goes to the Giants and gets a bad rap because he stopped Eli Manning's consecutive start streak, which was a bunch of BS. Eli wasn't playing good. He deserved to be benched weeks before that. Like, cry me a river. And then Geno went out there with the Raiders, right? And a game against the Raiders with the Giants, and really it was one of the best games of the year the Giants had for the quarterback that year. But they lost, and he got strip sacked, fumbled, or had a turnover late in the game, and everyone was like, oh, that's Geno Smith, oh. And it's stupid, it's unfair. I'm rooting for him, and I agree with you. I think he's one of those guys that might be able to capitalize on this situation. He's smart, he's got a good arm, and he's a pretty good athlete. So let's just see how this goes.
Okay, last thing, and I'm going to put you on the spot here. And if you haven't watched film, I get it. And you haven't studied enough, I get it. Because I'm taking you to high school now. Tonight on NBC Sports Network, Arch Manning. We get to watch Arch Manning. So before we're watching Tom Brady, we get to see Arch Manning in person. I get to scout a 5-star prospect that every college is drooling over, right? Have you got a chance to see him at all? What do you know about him? I've only seen a few Instagram clips of him, and sounds like the real deal. We know he's got the bloodlines. What do you know about him, and what should I look for tonight when I'm scouting Arch Manning?
I'm with you. Like, I don't know a lot about him. I've only seen highlights and things on Instagram just like you. But I like his motion. I like the way the ball comes out of his hands. And he looks like he's a pretty damn good athlete to go along with it. He's skinny as a rail, but that doesn't mean anything. I mean, I was skinny as a rail too when I was a junior and senior in high school. He's going to fill out and be a big, strong guy like Eli, Peyton, the rest of the family. So, yeah, I mean, to me, this is not one of those things where I look at and go, oh, well, he's one of the top quarterbacks in the nation just because his last name's Manning. No, the clips I've seen, I've gone, no, he's one of the top quarterbacks in the country because he's got skills, and it just happens to be that his last name is Manning. So, yes, thoroughly impressed. I mean, hey, listen, of all the high school quarterbacks that I've seen over the last year, and I just really go off of Instagram, that dude that went to Ohio State, Clint Ewers or whatever, I'm going to butcher his name, no disrespect. That's the most talented arm I've seen in high school in a while, to where that made me go, wow. But I didn't even know that we were airing that program tonight, and I will try to tune in and watch that a little bit because I'd like to see a little Arch Manning.
All right, cool, man.
Hey, listen,
I'll text you.
That's great.
I'll text you because I know the text thread has been kind of quiet because, you and Michael Holley don't have nothing to talk about because Holley's socks are in the ALCS. So, the text thread has been a little lonely, been a little dry. So, I'll get the group chat going about Arch Manning tonight. All right, let's do that.
Let's get it going because, look, hey, fellas.
I don't like you. And Holley said, you're going to get me a jersey. Get me a jersey. And Michael Smith, you don't have the greatest reputation for text. I'm just letting you know. You haven't entered a text in that yet. You haven't entered one text in that chain. That's true. You got to show me you can actually get involved in the conversation.
Okay. I'll get some sophisticated combo going. How about that?
I'll tell y'all this, though. Can I tell y'all this on the way out? Arch Manning cannot save Michael Smith's fantasy football team, nor can he save the Yankees. Ooh, see you later. Peace. Go home.
No, I don't like you. See you later.
For
Peace.
the year.
See.
For the year. And they're bringing back Aaron Boone. Aaron Boone's coming back.
Bye, Michael Smith. Bye, Michael Smith. Screw you, Holley. Screw you. See you later.
That was a meaty segment right there. Thank you, brother.